So we're just this magnificent, complex computer. And when we can program it with healthy food, healthy thoughts, positive affirmation, and putting the good things on our bodies, then we're optimizing our mind, body, spirit operating system. So that holistic really is, it's a circular continuum of it can be wellness or it cannot. It just depends on how we position and how we want to present who we are to the world.
Hadobody clothing. Head over to hadobodyclothing.com, a clothing brand that is designed to pique your interest, intrigue your intellect, and awe your senses. Science is ultimately catching up to the spirit thanks to modern technology. We now have the tools and techniques allowing us the opportunity to develop mind, body, spirit. That is the essence behind Hadobody clothing for men and for women. Meet Dianna. She is the founder and creative visionary behind this amazing lifestyle brand that incorporates the mind, body, and spirit. Dianna is the creative visionary and intends to grow this brand internationally for all men and women. Think about what is touching your body every day. Clothing designed with positive affirmations and made from products that are sustainable to our environment. Make sure what's touching your body is the best quality, made here in the US. Check out hadobody.com today. Hello, Empower Nation. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. I am your host, Angela Duncan, speaker, best-selling author, serial entrepreneur, and we talk all things money and business. Today's episode is sponsored by Hadobody clothing brand that is designed to pique your interest, intrigue your intellect, and awe your senses. On today's episode, I get to interview the founder and visionary behind Hadobody clothing, Dianna Smith, and we're going to talk about the clothing line that she has created and what you might not know about the clothing that you are putting on your body. Hi, Dianna. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. How are you today?
Good morning, Angela. I am doing fabulous. Thank you for asking. And how are you?
I'm doing amazing. Another beautiful day here in Miami. So
Good.
I would love for you to start off and kind of talk about your journey and your story and how you got to the company that you're running today.
Yes. Well, thank you for the opportunity to tell my story. And so I have two businesses that I run. And way back in the early 2000s, I started my career in financial services. And as I soon became a single mom, I'm building my business in finance, very competitive, very male driven, especially at that time. So I'm just kind of going for a long time. And in our world as women, a lot of times we'll put everyone before our personal care. So definitely was taking care of my daughter, my clients, building my business. And I was pretty young at the time, in my 40s, and I worked out. So I felt really great. But I also realized that I wasn't sleeping as much or as well as I could. I wasn't thinking about food for myself. So that was always an afterthought. Mm-hmm. So let's fast forward. We have the great financial crisis in the market. And that was stressful in and of itself. I'm raising my daughters, a single mom at that time. And in 2010, I was doing my morning routine and I was putting lotion on and I found a little lump on my breast. And actually it wasn't even a lump. It was more like a little spot. So more like a pimple or something along those lines, but it was October. And so I decided to go in and get my mammogram. And with that, the result was that I had breast cancer. So that, under 50, breast cancer, and it kind of stopped me in my tracks. And my MD asked me if I was open to meeting an energy healer. And I'm like, well, I've never had one. I don't know what they do, but I will take every resource I can get as I go on this healing journey. So I met Ursula, and Ursula looks just like her name would sound. She's this beautiful, white-haired, blue-eyed woman. She currently is back in Germany, but she brought into my world this whole concept of holistic. I always thought I was pretty holistic, but really that mind, body, spirit connection. And I also started my spiritual journey with her as well during that time. So that's in 2010. The placement of the cancer at the time was in a spot where they needed to remove the whole breast. So I made the decision, and a couple things I found out about a cancer diagnosis. It's so personal. And everybody has a different path that they are going to choose to go down. The path for me was to go ahead and get a double mastectomy, get everything taken off, and then rebuilt, put back on. I opted out of some of the other recommendations that they had in terms of radiation and tamoxifen. I felt like the risk reward for me personally wasn't good enough for the extra risk I was putting on my body. So that was that experience. What really happened during that time is Ursula pointed out to me that at that time I was operating with nearly 100% male energy. So I was in the fight every day, going in, a little chip on my shoulder, fighting the good fight, probably fairly angry a lot. And she's like, we need to bring in that feminine energy. And so that was really life-changing for me. I also really, at that time, wouldn't let anybody help me. I had to do it all myself. So my daughter's community, like her friends, their moms came in. I was a working mom, and they just came in and surrounded me with love and prayers. And I've never felt the power of prayer so much as during that time. So fast forward, and how do we get to now why we're here, which is talking about Hadobody. So one thing I realized during this whole point in time is that if we all realized how magnificent we truly are and what powerful creators that we truly are, we could solve a lot of our own maybe issues, and society itself could be a little happier, a little healthier, and we could all use a dose or two of that. So I thought, with what I'm learning about chakras, and I live in the Midwest, so there wasn't a lot of discussion around energy centers in the body, or that's woo-woo, and even meditation at the time was considered a little woo-woo. And fast forward to now, 2024, all of that's fairly mainstream, and we're all embracing that there's more to our 3D world than what we see, which is great. So at the time, and my husband he's such a support. He's co-owner in the business with me, and he's very pragmatic. So I'll have some ideas, and he'll have some reasons why they might not work. Well, this particular idea, he's like, that makes a lot of sense. I really like it. So it was like, what if we put positive I am affirmations on undergarments, because that's private, nobody has to see it, and also include a little bit about chakras in there. So we bring in color, we bring in that energy center energy, and we bring in the affirmation that's aligned with that chakra, and we have it on our undergarments, so it's touching our body. And through Dr. Emoto's work, which I embrace, we learned that water is an intelligent being, and it can carry information. So we're literally imprinting, or what I call programming, our bodies with positive self-affirmation. So that's the origination of Hadobody. So Hadobody is a wellness lifestyle brand. I thought of the name in 2012. So I had the diagnosis in 2010. We trademarked the name in 2012, and I said on it that the undergarment idea didn't come to me until really 2018. We started doing illustrations for the undergarments in 2019, and we launched in 20. So let's see, we launched in December 21st in 2021. So Hadobody is this collection. We were able to consult with a very successful woman that she started her own yoga line. So she's like, okay, you have to be bigger. You have to have more than just undergarments. So I'm a risk taker. So I'm like, okay, we're going to go big. So we developed a whole line of clothing that literally is well, I have to talk about that too, but the clothing design, it fits well, but it's an easy fit. That's all by design. I felt like athleisure wear was up and coming. And of course, COVID made it kind of, we can wear it anywhere now. So I can literally wear what I have on. I can wear it to brunch. I could wear it to bed. It's so comfortable. I could probably wear it to my more business formal office environment on a casual Friday if I wanted to, or go grocery shopping or meet my friends for coffee. So it's multifunctional, and you could do yoga in it. We also have true workout wear. And the thing is, I'm like, okay, if we're going to be if we're embracing wellness, it has to be sustainable fabrics. And the more I look into this, and it has to be good for the environment, and it has to be gentle on the environment. So one of our lines, it's beautiful on your body, gentle on the planet. So I researching bamboo is a beautiful fabric, and I love it. With that said, there's a certain fiber originally developed in Austria called lensing. And they've developed a zero carbon process, and it didn't happen overnight, but it's there now, to take self-seeding beech trees and make this incredible fiber. And the fabric is called micromodal. So that's our hero fabric. It's silky soft. It's got a little bit of spandex in it just to keep the shape. So that's one thing that we'll work on over time. But what we found out is a lot of the undergarments we wear, Angela, a lot of the all the performance gear, even if it's recycled fabric, they still produce microplastics, and they still have forever chemicals in them. That's not good for our bodies. So think about it. If I put on, and I wear it, I have it sometimes. I love, Lululemon fits great brand. But when you wear that, and it's a synthetic, anything that's not plant-based is synthetic, and it's made out of petroleum, and petroleum has forever chemicals. Then when you apply heat to that, which we work out, we apply heat, it absorbs even more into your body. So it's a hormone disruptor. It sheds microplastics in through our skin. And when we wash it, microplastics go into our water system. And, you can read about what water bottles do and the marine life and so on and so forth. So great fabric for the body. That's what our undergarments are made out of. We have 3 styles for women. Men, I think, are left out of the health equation sometimes. So we've taken care of the men. The men's brief is probably one of our #1 sellers. Along with the women's Aphrodite pant. I have it on right now. It's amazing. So that's kind of the premise. And then finally, so you've got your fabrics, you've got your positive affirmations. We thought, okay, well, we also have to give back. If we're wanting to promote this holistic environment, it's got to be full circle. So as I'm sure you are familiar, there's what we're mostly familiar with as a 7-system chakra system, the 7 chakra system. There are more, but we're going to deal with the 7, and starting from the root chakra all the way up to the crown chakra. And each one has a different job. So like, for example, your root chakra, which is located right down in our private area, that's really for our grounding, feeling safe, feeling like we belong, our family roots. So that's just really keeps us feeling comfortable and safe and cared for. I'll kind of skip and go to our heart chakra. That's our love center. And then your crown chakra was just that spiritual, divine peace. So we've aligned a charity with every one of the 7 chakra systems. So for example, the root chakra, we partner with nationalforest.org. For the heart chakra, the Heart Math Institute, they actually have developed a lot of ways that we can measure our heart aura and the auras around our body, and also the energy of groups of people meditating. They can measure all that. And what I see in my work in finance is that technology is allowing science to catch up with spirituality. When you feel bliss in your heart, you think about, what's that thing that makes me the happiest? And we think about it and we breathe into it. It actually changes our body chemistry, and we can measure that now. So it's really, really cool. So those are all the different premises of Hadobody. We hope that when you go to the website, which is where we're offered, that you find other things that if you want to know more about chakras, we have that, more about affirmation, more about our charities. We have a list of practitioners and experts and authors in everything holistic wellness, and we continue to add to that. So I'm really good at talking, so I have a good amount of time sharing with you what my passion business is, and they're both passion businesses, but this is more of the female flowy side of my corporate life.
Yeah. So a couple of things, a lot of times we are in this healthy state. We think about the food we're putting into our body, but we don't think about what else is touching our body. So clothing, products, things like that. That's something we should be aware of. So I love that you're tackling that clothing aspect of it, and that you're not excluding men, because when we think about, clothing, a lot of times, especially like the athletic wear or anything that is great for the environment, it's female driven, but there's a lot of men that also want to be part of this too. So I love that you have the line for the men. You touched on a word, and I would like for you to dive a little bit deeper into like the science behind mind, body, spirit, and what exactly that means for you.
Ooh, I love that question. Thank you. So I call the mind, body, spirit our MBS operating system. Think about when we get a new car, when we get a new microwave, when we get a new curling iron or straightener, we have a manual that tells us how to turn it on, turn it off, make it hotter, make it colder, or drive it, put it in park. We have all that spelled out for us, but we have this magnificent human experience that we're not really taught how to fully take care of it. And we're learning more and more all the time. So if you think about, we're comprised of carbon and water. And what is carbon? If you pound carbon, or it's in a mountain for centuries and has a lot of heat and pressure, it turns into a diamond, or it turns into a quartz crystal. Well, what are quartz crystals in? Well, it's in our laptop. It's anything with an on button has a quartz crystal. And we've got that kind of dynamic running through our body. And you apply water to that, which is a carrier of electricity as well. So we're just this magnificent, complex computer. And when we can program it with healthy food, healthy thoughts, positive affirmation, and putting the good things on our bodies, then we're optimizing our mind, body, spirit operating system. So that holistic really is, it's a circular continuum of it can be wellness, or it cannot. It just depends on how we position and how we want to present who we are to the world. And it's a lot easier said than done. And it's just like brushing our teeth every day. We have to consistently do it and come back to it and forgive ourselves from veering off and coming back. I mean, we're bombarded with data, with information so much every day that just, whether it's meditation, positive affirmation, mindfulness, visualization, all exercise, breathing, all the things.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about running a clothing company from a money perspective, because there's obviously, you're not working with cheap goods. So pricing is important,
Yes.
sourcing of goods are important. Talk a little bit about that if someone was thinking about launching a clothing line.
Great. Thank you. And so it is more expensive. And in my opinion, the right thing to do to really look at the sustainability and the supply chains. And so, for example, our manufacturer is in Los Angeles. It's a second or third generation family business. And so I know they pay living wages. I've toured, I meet with them. They're friends of ours now. So, so there's a lot that goes to it. And so you'll have your thoughts, you get your thoughts on paper. There are so many resources now. There's one that the name escapes me, but that again, applying technology to all this, I think can save money and streamline the time. And like I said, for me, I'm a little bit of a risk taker. So I didn't market test or any of that sort. I'm like, this is a need. We're going to fill this need and we're going to go big. So here we go. And I was fortunate enough that I had some seed money because I'd always known that I wanted to start my own business. So we applied that. And what I would say when you're interested in a startup, create your business plan. Like, are you going to be e-commerce on Shopify? Are you also going to want to wholesale that? And then how are you going to market that? And there's what we call the guerrilla marketing, where you're boots on the ground, which is the most, I think, authentic way to spread the word. It takes a lot of time and energy and work, but it's also incredibly rewarding because you meet really cool people and you get to meet people that are experiencing the brand with you. So whether that's the influencer marketing or whether it's some kind of affiliate with maybe people that are influential in whatever your target market is, those kinds of things. The other way is more digital and more you can scale, which would be the paid advertising on your different social media platforms and so forth. And it's expensive. You really need to understand it yourself so that if you hire it out, you can understand if they're good at that and they know what they're doing, because that could be a really expensive trial and error period, which we have experienced ourselves. So I know that's not all of it, but those are some things. And just know that it's going to take perhaps longer and perhaps more money than you've planned for. And that you'll figure it out a little bit of that along the way. So there's a leap of faith that at one point you take and you dive in and you go for it.
Yeah, great. That's some great advice too. So talking about Hadobody, what do you feel like is in the future for your company? If you could dream bigger 5 years from now, what does that look like to you?
Oh, yes. Yes. So there's so many different things. We love to do events. So I would love to see us doing more and bigger events where when you come to shop at a Hadobody pop-up, it's a whole experience. So like you literally are transported into this different world, whether it's genie in a bottle or, something along those lines. So that would be super fun. I think in terms of significance and an impact, I would love to be a significant contributor to the 7 charities that we donate percent of the proceeds. So percent of the profits of each different chakra purchase goes to one of the 7 charities. So ideally in the next 3 to 5 years, we're pretty significant contributors to those organizations, and that we do more joint events and partnering with them to spread the word on the work that they're doing and just to get more impact out there and more things like this. I think the more we can chat with like-minded, amazing women and individuals like yourself, Angela, and just build this community that we're all aware of, making it easier for all of us to consume products that are better for us on all levels.
And becoming more aware of that, because I don't think that, before you and I had this conversation, I never really thought about the clothes that I wear and the impact that those clothes are having on the environment. I do my best to donate to charity the clothes if I'm not wearing them anymore. Hopefully they're in good condition and someone can recycle it that way. But I never think about where it might go after that. So that's a really interesting thing for us to be aware of.
And Angela, I was the same way. I mean, I knew fast fashion just in and of itself wasn't good. I was mainly thinking of child labor and overseas and that kind of thing. And not that overseas production is it can be really great. But there is an island. There is a big dumping ground that's bigger than an island in the world, and the name's escaping me right now, but there's no place for it to go. And a garment made out of polyester rayon, those fabrics, they don't compost. It takes 200 years for it to disintegrate, and then it puts chemicals into the ground. So it's an amazing, my eyes were wide open. I was like, oh my gosh, I still have beautiful things in my closet that are made of those things. I'll still wear them, of course. So it's a process, and that's what I would say, nothing has to be perfect for you to start. I'm sure you've experienced that too. So if we waited for that perfect moment, everything's in place, we'll be waiting. We'll be on that starting line for a long time. So sometimes you just got to go.
Yeah. Awesome. So if our audience wants to get in touch with you, learn more about your products and what's coming up, or how to just purchase them, what is the best way for them to reach you?
Yes. So hadobody.com, HADOBODY is our website. That's the very best way. If you want to reach me personally, which I would love to hear from you, it's DSmith, DSMITH @hadobody.com. That goes directly to me, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or share more information with you. I think our website's beautiful. There's a lot of great information. You can see all the styles. We also have learned that our women love to wear all the men's stuff. And so it's pretty much all unisex at this point in time. So, and the fits are pretty true and pretty easy, but we're very flexible and I think great to work with. So,
yeah. Awesome, Dianna. I really appreciate your time today. You've enlightened me so much and I'm like a fashion person. So to be able to know now that I need to be more conscious about what I'm doing and what I'm purchasing, and making sure that I'm taking care of the environment for generations to come. So I truly appreciate all of your time today.
Thank you so much, Angela, for your time, the opportunity. It's so nice to meet you, and I look forward to keeping in touch.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning into Empower Her Money podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, share this podcast, and leave a review wherever you are tuning in.